Shalom. Thanks for joining me. Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 2. You ready? Then we turned and began traveling into the desert along the road to the Sea of Suf, as Adonai had said to me, and we skirted Mount Seir for a long time. Finally, Adonai said to me, "You've been going around this mountain long enough. Head north and give this order to the people. You are to pass through the territory of your kinsmen, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. They will be afraid of you, so be very cautious. Don't get into any disputes with them, for I'm not going to give you any of their land. No, and not even for 1 foot to stand on, and as much as I have given Mount Seir to Esau as his possession. Pay them money for the food you eat. Pay them money for the water you drink. For Adonai your God has blessed you in everything your hands have produced. He knows that you have been traveling through this vast desert these 40 years. Adonai your God has been with you, and you have lacked nothing." Edom, Jacob and Esau were the sons of Isaac. And God chose Jacob, and Esau, he was not chosen. And his descendants became known as Edom, Edom. The Edomites are the descendants of Esau, one of the 2 children of Isaac. And so he's talking about Esau. So this is why he called them their kinsmen. This is basically their brothers. And so here the Israelites are being told, you're not going to take the land of your brothers, but you got to be real careful. They're not going to like this. So verse 8, so we went on past our kinsmen, the descendants of Esau living in Seir, left the road through the Arabah from Elat and Etzion-Geber, and turned to pass along the road through the desert of Moab. Now, Elat, by the way, is a very world-renowned resort way down in the southeast part of Israel in what is called the Negev, which is the southern desert of Israel. And it's right on the Sea of Suf, which is the Red Sea. So very interesting. Right next to, right across from it is Saudi Arabia. Okay, so that's Elat. Etzion-Geber is still a very popular place today, a good-sized city today. So these aren't, like invisible places. These are real locations. And turned to pass along the road to the desert of Moab. Adonai said to me, "Don't be hostile toward Moab or fight with them, because I will not give you any of their land to possess, since I have already given Ar to the descendants of Lut as their territory." Now we call him Lot, L-O-T. He would be pronounced Lut in his language. The Emin used to live there, a great and numerous people, as tall as the Anakim. They are also considered Rephaim, as are the Anakim, but the Moabim call them Emin. In Seir, the Horim used to live, but the descendants of Esau dispossessed and destroyed them, settling in their place. Israel did similarly in the land it came to possess, which Adonai gave to them. Now get going and cross the Wadi Zered. That's Wadi Zered. That's a borderline river going from south to north. Once you cross that, you're crossing over into this land of the Moab. So we crossed Wadi Zered. The time between our leaving Kadesh Barnea and our crossing Wadi Zered was 38 years, until the whole generation of men capable of bearing arms had been eliminated from the camp, as Adonai had sworn they would be. Moreover, Adonai's hand was against them to root them out of the camp until the last of them was gone. When all the men who were able to bear arms had died and were no longer part of the people, Adonai said to me, "Today you are to cross the border of Moavat at Ar. When you approach the descendants of Ammon, don't bother them or fight with them, for I will not give you any of the territory of the people of Ammon to possess, since I have given it to the descendants of Lut as their territory. This too is considered a land of the Rephaim, whom the Emori calls Zamzumim, used to live there." These are all fancy little words. It basically just means big, giant, tall people. That's all it means, just big, giant, tall people. Verse 21, they were a large, numerous people, as tall as the Anakim, but Adonai destroyed them as the people of Ammon advanced and settled in their place. Just as he destroyed the Horim, as descendants of Esau advanced to the Seir and settled in their place, where they live to this day. It was the same with the Avim, who lived in villages as far away as Azah. The Kaphtorim, coming from Kaphtor, destroyed them and settled in their place. The Kaphtorim and Kaphtor. This is the ancient name for the island of Crete. And the Kaphtorim were people from Crete who sailed and settled there in the far western coast, which came to be known as the land of the Philistines. The Kaphtorim are the original Philistines. And today, much of that area is the Gaza Strip. That's the area where most of these Gazans and the Israelite war with Hamas is taking place. All right, continuing on. Verse 24, get up, get moving, cross the Arnon Valley. Here I have put in your hands Sihon the Amori, king of Heshbon, and his land. Commence the conquest, begin the battle. Today I will start putting the fear and dread of you into all the peoples under heaven, so that the mere mention of your name will make them quake and tremble before you. Look what God was doing for Israel so that they could fight these battles and win. God put a fear in their enemies. So just the mere mention of the name Israel will cause quaking, trembling, fear. This is verse 26. I sent envoys from the Kedemot desert to Sihon, king of Heshbon, with a peaceable message. Let me pass through your land. I'll keep to the road, turning neither right nor left. You will sell me food to eat for money. Give me waters to drink for money. I want to pass through. Do as the people of Esau, living in Seir, and the Moabim living in Ar, did with me, until I crossed the Jordan into the land Adonai our God is giving us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, would not let us pass through his territory, because Adonai your God had hardened his spirit and made him stubborn, so that he could hand him over to you, as is the case today. Now remember, when Moses is speaking, this battle is already taking place. They've already defeated this guy, Sihon. But what is fascinating is the little statement how God hardened his spirit and made him stubborn. If you remember the book of Exodus, he hardened Pharaoh's heart on purpose, just so that these 10 plagues, these judgments on each god of Egypt would be inflicted, and eventually the people of Egypt would drive the Israelites out, beg them to leave. And so here you see God hardening a heart, making someone stubborn just so he could lose a battle. Some people ask the question, well, doesn't God give us free will? The answer is yes, he does give us free will. And the other answer to that is God is sovereign, and when God chooses to do, he will simply do it. Whether you agree with it or approve of it is quite irrelevant. God chooses. Period. Keep that in mind. Verse 31, Adonai said to me, see, I have begun handing over Sihon and his territory before you. Start taking possession of his land. Then Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, to fight Yahatz. And Adonai our God handed him over to us, so that we defeated him, his sons, and all his people. At that time we captured all his cities, completely destroyed every city. Men, women, little ones, we left none of them. As booty for ourselves, we took only the cattle, along with the spoil from the cities we had captured. From Arar, on the edge of the Arnon Valley, and from the city in the valley all the way to Gilad, there was not one city too well fortified for us to capture. Adonai, our God, gave all of them to us. The only land you didn't approach was that of the descendants of Ammon, the region around the Yabok River, the cities and the hills, and wherever else Adonai, our God, forbade us to go. You know, it's interesting that the big complaint back in Numbers 13 and 14, that the fearful ones, the ones who refused to believe God could give them the land, their big complaint was these cities are big walled, fortified cities. And yet, what is the very thing that they are capturing and doing? In verse 36, there was not one city too well fortified for us to capture. Yeah, so the children of the fearful ones are conquering the land. Thanks for joining me.